So we all know that feeling when you want to record a YouTube video, so you sit down, you press record, and then suddenly your brain goes blank and you just forget how to talk, you feel awkward, and almost every word you say just feels really forced. Now, this happens to so many creators. So in this video, I'm going to give you a simple step-by-step framework that will help you speak confidently on camera so that you come across as your authentic self, and most importantly, you're able to deliver your message with clarity so that your message actually lands. And look guys, I used to be absolutely terrible when it came to speaking on camera. I was like really awkward, I was stiff, and I just kept second guessing myself when I was creating videos. But after following the framework that I'm going to lay out with you now, I was able to really improve my camera presence to the point where it's pretty good, and that's one of the reasons why I was able to grow my main channel to over 1.4 million subscribers. So let me show you how to do the same. Now, before I share this framework with you, I want to be really clear on why being able to speak to the camera confidently is such an important skill. And I want to imagine, for example, you are a 10 out of 10 technically at whatever you do on YouTube. So let's just say you've got a YouTube channel on building muscle in the gym, and you're the best in the world at this thing, and you're a 10 out of 10 technically, but your communication skills on camera are a 3 out of 10. How do you think your target audience sees you? Do they see you as the 10 out of 10, or do they see you as the 3 out of 10? Well, they see you as the 3 out of 10 because on YouTube, you are as good as you communicate. So the first lesson we need to understand here is that if you want to grow on YouTube, you need to master the art of speaking to the camera and good communication skills. So then, this is the 5-step framework that you need to follow in order to come across as confident and charismatic on camera. And we're going to start off with step number 1, which is getting into the zone. So what is the zone, you're asking? Well, the zone is that mental space you're in where it just feels natural to actually start recording videos. You see, the biggest mistake that so many YouTubers make is they will finish all their scripting and then they'll sit down, just turn on the camera and start talking to the camera and start reading the script straight away. And this is a really terrible approach to doing YouTube because guys, here's the thing. Speaking to the camera is not a normal thing to do. You know, right now I'm sitting in my office by myself speaking to an inanimate object, and I've got to pretend like it's my best friend and yeah, everything's great. And it's not a normal thing. So if you just dive straight into your YouTube script, you're going to come across as weird and robotic and not natural because you haven't put yourself in the right mindset to actually come across as a normal human being. So how do we actually change this? Well, what I like to do myself personally before I film any one of these videos is what I call a warm-up. So the warm-up is really simple. All you do is you spend between 10 and 15 minutes reading through your script or your bullet points beforehand. Even if you think you know it, even if you wrote the script yesterday and you know your niche like the back of your hand, still spend 10 to 15 minutes sitting down and reading the script. So before this video, I went through all of these slides at least 3 times, just so I had it all in my head. I was kind of ready to deliver the message, and it meant that I knew exactly what I was going to say and when I was going to say it. And the other thing I did was I practiced this out loud when the camera wasn't even on. So I literally just sat down, I almost recorded the video without a camera just so I kind of knew what was coming up next. And once you do this, you put yourself in a different state where you're much more likely to come across as natural and authentic on camera because you actually know what you're saying. So once you're in the right zone, we can then move on to step number 2, which is understanding how to speak to the camera authentically. Now, honestly, this is something that I really struggled with because what I used to do when I was making my videos in the past was I would turn the camera on and then I would suddenly turn into this weird presenter where I'd be, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this video. Today we're going to learn, and I just wouldn't sound like me. I would sound like a presenter, and this means I sounded inauthentic. And when you sound inauthentic, people don't want to work with you, they don't want to watch your videos, they don't want to buy from you either. So it's so important you understand how to come across as your authentic self. And here's a hack that really helped me, and it's helped loads of my students as well. So in my coaching programs, what I do is I get my students who struggle with this problem to film 2 videos. Video number 1 can just be on anything. So let's just say they made a video and they'll send it to me, and it's about why the iPhone is the best phone in the world. So they'll make this video and they'll come across as a presenter, they'll come across as robotic, and they just won't sound very good. Then I say to them, okay, I want you to record the same video, but this time address it to your mum or address it to your best friend. And when they do this, when they introduce the video by going, hey mum, I wanted to explain in this video why the iPhone is actually the best kind of phone out there. Instantly, everything changes. Their tonality, they seem so much more relaxed. They seem like a real actual person. And the reason for this is because they're speaking to an actual person, because they're addressing the video to their mum or to their best friend. And that right there, guys, is the secret. if you want to come across as authentic on your videos, you need to actually speak to a person and not a camera lens. And the easiest way to do this is start off the video by addressing it to someone. Of course, you can cut that out in post, and then you will instantly come across as more authentic, more engaging, and your content will just be so much better. And by the way, if you're listening to all this and you're going, but Oscar, I don't know even how to script out my videos, then just click the first link in the description, because I've got a free template where you can actually just get my script writing formula, and you can just follow all the different checkpoints there, and you can script out your videos perfectly. And then from there, you can actually apply the techniques and tips that I'm sharing with you. So click the first link in the description to download my YouTube scripting formula. It's completely free. Step number 3 is smiling to the camera. So there's this incredible book out there called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And if you haven't read it, then it's one of the best books I've ever read, so definitely go and get it. And he shares this fascinating story in there, which is about how sales reps used to increase their conversions on the phone just by smiling when they spoke to people on the phone. And the reason for this is when you smile and talk at the same time, when you talk through a smile, what happens is your tonality improves, your voice sounds more energetic, and you instantly kind of come to life on camera. So let me just give you an example right now. If I speak without a smile, I kind of sound like this. So I'm a lot more monotone, I'm a lot more serious, and I wouldn't say that it's a very engaging way to create YouTube videos. But I can basically say the same thing, and if I speak through a smile, you just seem more happy, seem more friendly, and people relate to that a lot more. So if you want to instantly improve the quality of your videos and just come across as a more engaging YouTuber, speak through a smile, because it will really help you out there. Step number 4 is then to mess up and move on. What do I mean by this? Well, there's this massive misconception that when it comes to doing YouTube, you have to be perfect on camera. And this really, really couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, as I'll explain in just a second, if you're perfect on camera, it ends up damaging your YouTube videos. But look, here's what most people do. They will start speaking to the camera, then they'll mess up, so they'll stop recording and they'll sit down again and they'll restart. And then they'll mess up again, and then they'll stop recording and they'll restart. And they do this over and over again, trying to make the perfect video. And this means you spend hours and hours filming your content, which just no one has got time for. All right. So if that describes you, then here's what you need to do instead. You need to embrace imperfection, and you need to understand that mistakes make you human. So in this video, I've left in loads of little mistakes. I've left in where I've stumbled over my words. I've left in some ums and ahs, and that's a deliberate thing because people want to watch and engage with people who they actually relate to. An obvious example is something like the news. Now, news readers don't make mistakes, and they're absolutely perfect when they speak. But do you actually relate to that person? Do you actually feel a connection to your newsreader? Of course not, because they're just delivering information without a layer of emotion behind it. But when you make mistakes and you humanize yourself, people want to watch you because people like themselves. And no one in this world is perfect, meaning if you share your imperfections, people want that over the perfect polished YouTube video. Now, obviously with huge mistakes, you should cut them out. So when you've seen like cuts in this video, that's because I've probably stumbled over my words too much, or I've gone on a tangent, or I've just paused a bit like this. And it didn't flow that well. So obviously you cut out the bigger mistakes, but the smaller mistakes, guys, embrace them. And it really actually benefits your videos. So remember that when making your next video. And this allows us to move on to step number 5, which is probably the most important step and the fastest way to improve on this whole camera confidence thing, which is getting feedback. Now, I didn't come up with this framework here, and a very, very talented communicator and also magician called Vin came up with this. And he created this process called record and review. And this for me was game changing. And this is what took me from like really awkward and bad on camera to being somewhat decent and able to grow my main channel to 1.4 million subscribers. So what I did was this. Every time I made a YouTube video, the first thing I would do would be an auditory check. So I'd get my YouTube video up on YouTube, I would turn the volume all the way up, and then I'd place my phone face down on the table, and I would just listen to how I sound. And what I'd look out for was, how was my tone? Is it engaging? Is it monotone? Is it really flat? Or is it quite exciting? And I would just have an auditory check on how I come across on camera. Once I'd done that, I would turn the volume all the way down and turn my phone face up, and I would do what is known as a visual check. And this is kind of where I would watch my hand movements. I would see, am I sitting like this in a very presentary way, or am I moving my hands around way too much, or just enough? And I would also check out these different things and really just try and see how I came across visually on camera. And then the final thing you're going to do is what is called a transcribed check. And on YouTube, you can very easily just download the transcript for the entire video and download the transcript and then just read through all the words that you're saying and really just think to yourself, are there words here that I keep saying or repeating that remove the clarity of my message? For example, I used to always say the word okay in my videos. So I'd make a point and I'd be like, okay. And then I'd say something else and I'd say, okay. And I only realized this when going through the transcripts of my video, every other sentence, there was the word okay. And then what happened is I had that at the forefront of my mind and I was like, I need to remove this word from my videos in order to improve how I come across and communicate. So start doing this with your videos, follow this 3-step framework here, and it's really just like having a mirror in front of you that reflects exactly how you should improve going forward on your YouTube videos. Anyway, guys, I hope this was really useful. And if you actually want to learn how to script out your videos properly so you can apply all this stuff really effectively, watch this video here where I break down my entire YouTube scripting template.